Well, the economic gloom is also continuing across the Atlantic when a new milestone was reached on Friday with the 100th bank closure so far this year. In fact, by the end of the day, that figure rose to 103 as small banks in Florida and Georgia were seized by regulators. Well, joining me from Washington now is Mark Bloomfield. He is president of the American Council for Capital Formation. Mr. Bloomfield, thanks very much indeed for your time here on BBC News. So this is the largest number of bank failures in the US since the early 90s, and yet we heard earlier that the sales of previously owned homes in the US rose last month. So what are we to make of this? Is this the economic recovery we're supposed to be seeing, or is this further deepening into recession? Put it into perspective for us.
First of all, thank you for inviting me back on. I think the situation in the United States is best described by what you just heard about in England, what the Reverend King said, what the Courier said, and that is to say we had a very sick patient, the U.S. economy, almost in extremis, almost dying, almost Depression 2.0, and now we have an ailing patient. The banks that first failed were the ones involved in exotic instruments. Now it's the local community banks who are worried. Consumers are not buying enough. We have a weak economy. Banks are nervous, and therefore they're not lending, and some are going bankrupt because their loans may be in default.
So we're going to see more banks closing?
Oh, I think we very well can. I mean, we had, you said 104 in the 90s. We had 200, 300, 400. There's estimates it could be 400 this time around. So it's a weak economy, and it'll take time to get out of it. Until we get out of it, we will see banks fail.
I mean, it sounds to me like you're saying there's a whole lot more bad stuff to come.
Well, the good stuff is we aren't in Depression 2.0. But there are three options for the economy. One, as your earlier reporter said, we can have a V curve, which means you go down and abruptly go up, which is what happens with deep contractions. The only problem is this was caused by a financial crisis. The second, we can have the bumping around you referred to, which is U curve. Or the third, you can have a W, which is going down, and up. But the jury certainly is out, as the Courier said.
Let's just talk a little bit about those previously owned US homes. It sounds like there's a bit of a mini boom going on there, or is this down to what's known as the tax credit system, which the deadline is looming in the US?
Oh, I think you hit it right on the nail. There is an $8,000 tax credit that's out there. I'm trying to sell a condominium, and my realtor says sell it before that expires. And quite frankly, the U.S. Congress is thinking about doing something to create jobs, and that is to extend unemployment compensation. And yes, this particular sector of the economy, homes, extend that $8,000 credit.
Okay, Mark Bloomfield, President of the American Council for Capital Formation, we very much thank you for your time here on BBC News.